everyone. This is Anna Bebo.
Hi, everyone. This is Katie Volk.
And this is Hey Bay City.
That was good. That was like for real good.
Yeah, you let it.
That was for real good. So every day at work, I come walking up the stairs and I pass Soul Fit. And you guys are always doing like fitness stuff and like physical effort. And honestly, I think my first real exposure to you guys was I was getting coffee at Live Oak, and all of a sudden there was like 15 runners all gathered on the street, and I was like, this is weird. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. What are all these people doing? And you guys were out it was like National Running Day or something like that, and we took a picture, and I was like, I gotta get one of my neighbors on this podcast. And you, Anna, were like, I have just the person to join me. Can Katie join me? I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. The more the merrier. And so thanks so much for joining me this morning, guys.
Yeah, I
Thanks
figured
for having us.
Katie would be awesome because she also does health coaching too, and she runs a business. So,
Yeah.
And she's open during the day. When do you find that?
Yeah,
Everyone's busy.
Yeah, that's true. I love kind of the way that we're going to take this conversation. But first things first, like I kind of want to get to know each one of you, because I don't really. This is really the first time that we've ever met. So, Katie, tell me a little bit about yourself and your path to what it is you do today.
Thank you. Yeah, I grew up in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, really?
So-
Florida?
Yes, I grew up in Tampa.
It's so hot in Florida.
It's very hot. Yeah.
I was just there doing a keynote, and my plane landed. I got in my rental car. I drove to the place at the conference center. I got out and my sunglasses fogged up. And it was so weird for me being from Michigan, because that only happens during the winter.
Yeah.
But Tampa, hey?
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Really? For how long were you there?
I lived there till I was 18, and I went to college in Chicago. Everyone thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
And so I lived in Chicago for 17 years. So
Wow.
I graduated and became a bartender.
Really? What'd you go to college for?
Comparative human development.
Okay.
Yeah, University of Chicago. So it's, I don't know.
You
know how they do it.
Give me like the 101 of comparative human development. What exactly is that?
I wanted to be a psychologist, and so it was getting the psychology aspect, but without all of the math and statistics.
Okay.
So it was also some anthropology. Like I took a class on spirit possession.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's why you became a bartender?
Yes.
Dude, were you a bartender for 17 years?
I was a
or?
bartender for 12 years. So I started as a cocktail waitress at the Marriott downtown and then transitioned into bartending.
Wow.
And I loved it.
Yeah, I'm interested by this because I've never bartended. And it seems like kind of this cool world of like a career, like similar like chefs. Like chefs have their own like group and their own culture, and bartending seems very similar. What did you love about bartending?
Oh, I loved, just kind of like running the bar. It was a very busy bar. I loved making drinks. I loved talking to people, but it's really not about, it is about making the drinks, and I make a mean drink, but it's more about like managing people. Making those connections and just having fun. I was so entertained all the time. Like I actually did find it was just people are so funny, and like I would be delighted by my customers. And it's like, you do well with bartending when you're authoritative and when you can be yourself. People really pick up on that. And also I liked to serve.
Especially in those really busy bars where people are going for a scene, for an experience. You're really guiding that experience, like you're determining that experience for them in a lot of ways. Like, are you getting your drinks on time? Are you getting it done well? But then at the same time, like, are you adding to this experience for people? Yeah, that's super cool. Mm-hmm. What does it take to be a good bartender?
It takes...
Because as an introvert, that terrifies me. I'm absolutely terrified by the thought of like standing behind a bar and talking
right.
to people.
It takes like you being direct. It takes you taking control. Even when things get crazy or there are wait times, people don't care as long as you're communicating with them.
Yeah.
So it just takes owning what you're doing. So owning it. Oh, I forgot your drink. I think it takes being direct and
Wow.
being in charge. Like, you have to be in charge. If you're not in charge of your bar, it's going to be bad. And people can tell. Yeah.
So how did you move from bartender in Chicago to here?
Yeah. So COVID happened. I thought I would work there forever. I loved it. It was great money, great benefits. But I realized very shortly after COVID started, and I wasn't bartending because I couldn't. And I realized, I really based my personality a lot on being a bartender. And so COVID hit. I immediately gained like 20 pounds because I wasn't walking to 20,000 steps a day. And that's kind of what got me into, I had already been practicing yoga at that point for 10 years. But a lot of the bartender lifestyle that you mentioned, that would get in the way of my fitness and my health and my mental health.
Late nights.
All
Intense.
of that. Yes.
Wow.
So all of that stuff. And so it was a chance for me. I realized having some pretty bad habits of like, I gained weight because I'm not working, but these habits were already there and I need to address them.
Wow. Okay. So you started really gravitating towards yoga. Is that correct?
Yoga, I already had been. I'd been practicing for like 10 years, but not with the regularity I wanted because of the drinking habit would get in the way.
Right. So how'd you end up here in Bay City then?
So my now husband is from this area. And so in Chicago, after COVID, didn't love it, lockdown in the big city. And then our landlord passed away. And so we were just like, we need to move. And his aunt offered for us to live in her house in Caro. She owned what was my husband's grandmother's house. So her mom's house. So we lived in Caro for a while before settling in Bay City.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now you're here in Bay City. What do you do professionally?
So I own a business, Katie Volk Mind, Body, and Soul. So I offer personal training. I offer one-on-one life coaching, and then also teaching yoga. And so I get to do all of that at SoulFit.
Speaking of which, what a great segue, Katie Volk. Anna, you're 23 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And it just seems like you're doing so much, Anna. We'll get to that so much in a second, but give me a little bit of your backstory. Did you grow up here in this area, or how did you end up here?
So I actually grew up in Freeland. I lived there my whole life. And then I also lived out in Saginaw Township for a couple years. And then I'm back in Freeland.
Yay! What, you own SoulFit?
Yes.
What else do you own?
So I own Creative Grace, which is wedding planning. It's a wedding planning business. So I hire out other planners for that. And then I also own a wedding photography business.
Oh, wow.
And I started all of that basically, I got back into photography during COVID. I was a personal trainer before that, and I did lots of group fitness, lots of, physical activity, all the things. And then when we couldn't move in smaller, areas, I was like, okay, well, we're going to go outside. So we started doing outdoor workouts, and then I kind of just got this itch to get back into photography. And I think getting into that kind of led me into so many other things. And it just gave me so many opportunities. Once I jumped back into photography and once that business grew. And I think from there, just kind of,
how fun.
Big story, but
being an entrepreneur, was that always something that you felt compelled to, or did you just kind of find yourself with that itch, or how did that happen?
Well, I got to say, I've always kind of been an entrepreneur. When I was probably 8, back in Freeland, always had the yard sales and, all that type of stuff. And my parents never really had passion to do them. They're they're just so much work. And I was like, okay. So when I was young, I would actually go to my grandparents' house and I would take all the toys that I didn't want and I would throw this giant garage sale. I'd bake cookies the day before. I would go out with my mom. We'd pick up waters. I would price everything. My favorite part was pricing everything and putting it out on the table. And that was my yearly paycheck. So when I was really young, I started that. I was always trying to sell things to my friends and my sisters. So I think I've always had that, I guess, in my bones. My dad, he's a entrepreneur, not as much as what I am, but he's got it in his bones too.
Yeah, cool.
He had his private contracting pilot business. And then also now he owns a berry farm out in Freeland. So that's like their retirement thing.
Oh,
So
really? A berry farm?
So that's really new. That's the second year. They've got
What berry farm?
Blackberries. It's Flying Dutchman Farm.
Okay.
It's out in Freeland. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's new. But I love entrepreneurship because it gives you that freedom, and I really just don't like working for other people. I've tried it.
See,
I've
yes.
done.
I can never go back.
The truth.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it works for some people and for others it doesn't. Like for me, if something doesn't work, I'm really good at pivoting and being like, okay, this doesn't work. Let's just try this.
Yeah, I love your honesty with that, because yes, entrepreneurship is about following a purpose and a mission and a passion and doing good work in the world and helping people and all these other things.
Yeah.
But also a very self-aware element of it is I have a really hard time working for other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done daycare. I've done all the things. Like I worked, one of my first jobs was over at SkyFit. And that's how I got into group fitness instructing. So one day I was going for a workout class there, and I was teaching, or I was also one of their employees and stuff like that. And they're like, they didn't show up. Do you want to be our SkyFit instructor? And I was like, sure, I will definitely teach a class. And I had prior gymnastics experience. So I was like, okay, I think I got this.
Yeah.
And I taught it, and it was so much fun. And from there, I just was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my certification. And so I got my group fitness certification in high school. I got it. And then when I was 18, when I graduated, and you had to get the diploma in order to finish that certification and, take the test. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get that. And then after I got that, I jumped into teaching over at Freeland Sports Zone a little bit. And then I also taught over at SVSU. I got a really good job. I was helping out, what was I doing? Senior fitness. So
how fun.
Yeah, so I was helping out seniors, and we were so that was a lot of fun. So 50 and older, but don't get me wrong, they were not doing chair stuff.
Yeah.
We were doing burpees.
Yeah, they're intense, man.
and they were so much fun. But that is that was kind of what led into it. Then I started branching out, and I grabbed those people, and we did outdoor classes for Trained by Anna. That was my first business, actually.
Yeah.
So all during COVID, we did online workouts. And then I also went out by Haithco Park in Saginaw. Learned a lot through that, and just like the whole aspect of group fitness. I actually had a dream to open up my own studio for SoulFit back in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So it was when I was, 2019, I'm sorry. I was going to college over at Delta, and I just would walk around downtown Bay City, and I'm like, oh, that would be a really cool space for some sort of studio. And I actually just came across a story from 5 years ago, and it was something that I put on Instagram, and it was like, future fitness studio location.
Oh,
and it
really?
was, I think it was like on my table or something.
Yep.
That is now. But I just always have had a dream to own my own studio or whatever that was. I just didn't really know what it would be. I didn't know if it was going to be a fitness studio or if it was going to be something else,
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it just kind of.
Very cool.
Yeah,
So
cool.
when did SoulFit open?
So SoulFit opened March 2022. I'm trying to get that right. Yeah. Because
Okay.
23.
2020, no, 23. Yeah, 23. I'm like, wait a second. No. I'm like, wow, we're already in 2024 almost. What the heck?
See, the whole pandemic thing, it's been the longest 3 years, but at the same time, it feels like yesterday. Like it's such a weird frame of time. Like things
It
were
stopped.
time stopped and
did.
accelerated, and then it slowed down, and now I think we're in this decade still. That's super cool.
it's
So
weird.
you're relatively new.
Yeah. So, so I'm relatively new for SoulFit. So take it back last year, I just kind of had a vision for just a fitness studio that's not just about working out. I was in the health and fitness. I mean, it's just, I've seen so many things of people exercising and trying to look a certain way, and everyone's trying so hard to look a certain way. And meanwhile, they're getting burnt out. And I was getting burnt out myself trying to look a certain way as a trainer, trying to exercise and everything. And I knew why I exercised, and that was to feel good. When I work out, I feel really good. Like I didn't work out this morning and I'm like extra hyper and I'm like, nice people work out. And yeah. And so I just kept thinking like, oh, like what if we had like something that wasn't just focused on that, but rather people came and they felt really good and they met some new people and they had those connections and there was just a lot of positivity and they're surrounded with that. I mean, I've been to so many workout classes where you walk into it and you're just like so intimidated. And then all of a sudden, and there's like these little cliques there and there's these little cliques there. And I'm like, I can't stand that. And I'm like, I want a studio where there's going to be new people. There's going to be people that have been doing it for years. Like, and so that's when I just kind of started stumbling on the vision of SoulFit. And then, I wasn't for sure on the name. I just knew I wanted soul in there. And yeah, what else?
I love that. I assume that kind of focused on, yes, it's fitness, but it's also a place of positivity. It's also a place of inclusion where you can feel good. I assume that's kind of where this soul fit name comes from. I love that.
For sure. And I want my vision too was to do like workshops and to do things for mental health, like getting people together. Like we just had a big backpacking trip last weekend and it was so fun. We all went to Pictured Rocks.
Oh, fun.
I planned it. Like as a fitness studio. Yeah, so I put it together. That's just not, I don't like putting together things. I'd rather just like hire someone that likes to do that. So I did find someone later. So she's going to be in charge for putting together like retreats. And I want to have like, all that type of stuff. I mean, we went on the backpacking trip and everyone just connected so well. And everyone was just so happy and, no drama. Like there was no comparison. It was just everyone just having fun. And it's just women. So that's definitely something I want to continue to do for SoulFit. And just, it's not a gym. And when people say gym, I'm like, no, it's not a gym. It's a studio. Yeah. Big difference.
I love that. And we'll get into that in a second. But before that, to bring these two threads together, how did you two meet?
Oh, yeah. So, wow. When I was opening up SoulFit, I mean, I was kind of just going into it like, all right, like I'm the one that I just take a risk and I'm like, I'll figure it out as I go. And I was like, all right, we kind of got to the point where I was like, I need to find instructors. And I found all my instructors through different walks of life. Like 2 years ago, I found someone from Delta. 2 years, someone I found down the road, I was a childhood friend or something like that. So it's like, and I went to an entrepreneur support group out in Midland and I was like, all right, this is the problem that I'm dealing with. And it's finding instructors that are experienced, good. They know what they're talking about. It's not someone I have to train. They're certified. And then Katie came up to me after and she's like, I would love to chat. And then we started chatting and I was like, wow, like you're a great fit. Like, I mean, she's a great fit. Like everyone just kind of fits a puzzle piece in the SoulFit family. I think it's good to have some people that are more low key, like Katie. She's a lot more relaxed. She's a lot more calm. And then the other Katie, she's the marathon runner. She's running a marathon in like 2 weeks. She woke up at like 4 a.m. to run. She's the one that you were talking about when you saw the running.
She tried to get me to run and I was I'll just take the photo.
So I met her through entrepreneurs, group. And I just think it's really cool how, everyone that you meet, somehow they might play a role in your life. So don't burn bridges. That's my biggest.
Yeah. Right? Katie, what intrigued you about what Anna was saying at this support group? What made you go up and say, hey, we could be a good fit?
I think I had seen you before, maybe with Creative Grace. And so just the fact that it was in Bay City, because I live here in Bay City, but clearly I at a entrepreneur group in Midland. I go over to Freeland also for networking. So like, right here in Bay City. I think at the time, I had previously taught yoga in Frankenmuth. So just finding a studio to teach at. So I was like, I want to find out more.
Yeah. Also kind of a cool joint direction in that, Anna, you really wanted your fitness studio to be more than just fitness, to include mental health and kind of more of a holistic approach. And here comes Katie with the yoga background, the fitness coaching background, but at the same time doing the coaching and trying to get mental health in there and things like that. That is a cool kind of tandem team. I love that. So Anna, give me before we get into like big broad topics, because I'm really excited to talk to you guys about physical health and mental health and like why those things are important. Give me a quick 101 of SoulFit. So who is it for? What kind of classes do you have? Tell me that.
Yeah, so SoulFit is for everybody. But honestly, I feel like most of our clientele is women that are in their 18 to like probably 60. I think that's like our main group of people that come. SoulFit it's a boutique fitness studio, so you're not going to have a big, huge groups or anything. It's 15 and under people. I feel like the average group is anywhere from 5 to 10 people, and it's just a really intimate space where you come in, it's calm. We have twinkle lights and you come in and it's all black. I purposely did that because I didn't want it to be so like white and fluorescent lighting. I want it to be super low lighting so people feel when they instantly come in, they're not like super stressed out. Like I know how it feels when you go into
ready to train?
Yeah. No. I want it to be calm and just for that person that may only work out at home because they're intimidated. I know that even as a trainer, I didn't want to work out at a Planet Fitness because people are staring at you. It's just intimidating.
I'll piggyback on that. I spent a lot of time coaching in the CrossFit world, and I remember the one of the new member on-ramps we did. We had 17 folks signed up, and one of them didn't show. And people don't come to class, not a huge deal. But the next on-ramp class, she came and she's like, I just want to tell you that I actually did come to class, but I was so nervous that I didn't get out of my car, and then I drove back home.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, and like absolutely something that I can relate to, because especially if you're self-conscious or if you have various kinds of insecurities that everybody has, like walking into a studio, a fitness studio, like, wow, these people have been doing yoga for years, or they look so great. Like, I get it. So I love that you're really trying to set a stage for people for that inclusivity. Like I get that you're self-conscious, or I get that you don't want to be intimidated.
For sure.
So I'm going to build a space to balance that out so that I don't freak you out.
Yeah, I think group fitness is too. I think it's the best way to get into exercise. So there's people that have been doing group fitness for years, and some people, they start with it, and it's a good way just to get them on that good routine, and then they can branch off and do their own thing. Yep. And I'm all for like work out at home a couple days and then work out with us a couple days. Like whatever fits your schedule. And also just, I think it's a good way, a good motivating thing, because some people again, they say they're going to work out at home and then they try, then the dog is there, the baby's there. It is hard. Like I worked out for many years at home and I still do, but it's still so challenging.
Yeah, but you're also building a community. Like It is more than just fitness. You're building a community of people. That's what I loved about CrossFit was for 60 minutes, everybody's coming into the gym for the same purpose, and they have similar values, and they're there for similar reasons, all these things. And this is popping in I just listened to a researcher from Harvard Business School, and he's like their happiness professor. He's the guy who researches happiness. And it's interesting because he broke happiness down into, if you want to be happy, you need to experience positive things with other people. And he's if you are a person looking for more happiness in your life, that is a critical component into building a happier life, is that you need to experience positive things with other people. And so like working out at home by yourself, I think we can all admit, folks who do that, it's not the most fun thing. It's
dreadful after a while for people.
You don't go down in the basement like, woo, I cannot wait to spend the next hour and a half by myself down in this dungeon. Like
hour and a half.
I can only make it past 20 minutes by myself.
20 minutes, like 20, or you just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
But there's something about building that community with other people, and then you build that fitness integration in there too, and not only are you happier, but now you're getting healthier, and it's just a win-win.
It really is. It just feels good when you have the music up all the way. And I'm sorry for the people upstairs of SoulFit. We love our music loud. I can't hear
you. I'm on the third floor, so you play that music.
It. Yeah, we love the loud music. And when you get, obviously like a yoga class is a little different. You're going to have more chill. But for something like a trampoline class, that's like our newer bounce class. And it's so fun when you get that music going and it's just like loud and people are they're working out. And I got done with the class and I'm like, I kind of want to keep jumping. Like, this is fun. And I'm like a Bugs Bunny. And I'm like, I have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And I was so hyper after and all those good endorphins. And I gotta say, like, I have a Peloton at home and I've been doing that, and I had to put a pause on the membership because I wasn't using it as much. Like I'm all for using it. I used it all during COVID, everything. But then now I'm like, I need to get my butt to the studio. Like, it may be further, but even though you might be further to get there, sometimes that drive there is so good for someone just to decompress after a long day. Maybe it's that one time that they have by themselves, you know, and then they hit the studio, then they're driving home and they feel really good. So people need that.
Yeah, my wife started going to spin class. It's a little bit of a drive. So her and her friends go once a week to the spin class. But what I love about it is I get home from work and like all her friends are at the house and they're all getting ready to go to spin, and they get in the car, they take the Jeep and they go to spin and they come back. And it's very apparent that yes, it's about spin and yes, it's about getting healthier, but here is a cool experience between friends that they get to go and they get to hold each other accountable and they get to achieve this thing that they want to achieve. And it's just very beautiful to witness. Katie, I want a one-on-one from you, and with the coaching, can you clarify the coaching? Because right now we're talking about physical fitness, and so when we use the word coaching, and folks might see like Jay Shetty on Instagram, and he's a coach, and some of these other like very visible folks coaching. What your coaching is with Katie Volk is not physical coaching; it's a different kind of coaching.
Correct.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think, Anna, you did say like health coaching, but it's kind of not. It's just general one-on-one life coaching. And I think it's just about just like Jay Shetty, like having people feel better about themselves and their lives. Coaching is like a safe space to do things that like to your nervous system don't feel safe. But the way we live in society now, we do have to do things that may not feel safe to us. So it's like taking those chances with the support of someone. Yeah. Learning different skills and tools for dealing with life.
Oh, I love it. What kind of folks reach out to you? Are they typically entrepreneurs, or like what kind of folks are looking for life coaching?
Actually, no. There is a huge, there are a lot of coaches. I don't know too many in this area, but there are. There's a lot of coaches for coaches. It's so valuable. I had a coach, but no, I work with, just like regular people. Yeah. So a client,
people,
like regular people,
civilians.
Yeah. So right, I do. Like one of my clients is an entrepreneur, but that's not the general. It is. I would say it's more women. And I've worked with a lot of women in their 20s. Although my one client that just finished her program with me was 67.
Wow.
So they're like kind of like soul cool. fit. There's a wide range.
You get a spread of it. Yeah. Well, how does what you do differ from therapy? So just like right now I know, and I love that you pointed out that coaching, life coaching is not very common in the Great Lakes Bay region. So I love kind of picking it apart. So immediately I know folks at home are listening to this and saying, so it kind of sounds like a therapist. How is life coaching different than therapy?
There are some overlaps. Like one thing, like in my coaching, I want people to have breakthroughs and awarenesses where they can change or shift something. So I guess, I don't know. I'm not a therapist, so I don't know too much. You're asking me the difference. Let me stay on track here. I think it's more of looking forward and seeing what you can create instead of looking back and kind of dealing with what has happened with the resolving traumas. In coaching, there's a little bit of looking back, but it's more of like, okay, how does that affect us moving forward? So it's a lot about creating the vision of like, what do you want in your life? Like, what do you want? And what has been getting in the way of that? So it's a lot of clarity and like me kind of holding a mirror to what have you been doing? Is that what you want to be doing? Certain behaviors that might be dysfunctional. I am well aware of those because I have them myself. We all do.
Yep.
So just shining a light on those and then, changing them.
I really love the opportunity that life coaching presents because going to therapy myself, there are things that I would want to communicate to my therapist. Because here's a situation where you have somebody to talk to and you have 60 minutes of undivided attention and you have like certain stressors or questions or you're searching for that breakthrough. But that's not necessarily the wheelhouse. Like for me, and this is just my interpretation of my experience, it's about really picking apart the way that you cope with things or your emotional reactions to things or your experiences on how they might affect you now and really digging into your brain so you can understand who am I, why do I do the things that I do, how can I improve those things. To me, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I see in the benefit of life coaching is, for instance, I am an entrepreneur who's really, really stressed out. I have no idea what to do. Like I hop on Instagram and like have all these motivational quotes and none of those are helping me and they're not giving me the direction. And really I need somebody where I can spill my guts to and say like, this is how I'm feeling and this is what I want and what I'm not getting and all these things. And you as a coach can say, well, let's examine like, what do you want? What could you do to get what you want? What are the steps in between that? I'm here to cheer you on. Would that be accurate to say?
It is. And it's like, what way of thinking are you engaging in that's holding you back from taking that action?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big part of it. And when you mentioned like entrepreneurs, but even everyone has.
I feel seen. Like, what are you thinking that's holding you back? Oh.
Yeah, but it's like we all act a certain way because of beliefs that we hold.
Yeah.
So if you think about like people pleasing or controlling, like I tried to control my coworkers when I bartended because I wanted everything to be fine, because if everything wasn't fine, then I would look like a jerk who didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
The more I tried to control them, the less they wanted to do what I wanted them to do. So it was like kind of squandering an opportunity to be a leader because I did have their respect, but I wasn't using it. And that's the other thing is like, all of us have so much power that we don't even realize as long as we're not letting it leak out by the kind of destructive or toxic habits that we have like with our energy, or as long as we're not giving it to other people.
Yeah. I love that too. Like, and I'm speaking as an entrepreneur, I'm putting on my entrepreneur hat, but this can absolutely be if you're a son, a father, a mother, like just a person trying to live a better life. Sometimes you need a third person perspective to be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Like, oh, there's that light bulb. I just needed somebody to look at me and say, well, this is what you're doing. This is how you're holding yourself back. And sometimes a spouse isn't exactly the perfect person to do that. I heard a coach say once is that they're too close, and that's sometimes why therapy is so great, is because you can go to this therapist and you can tell them everything, like brutally honest and transparent, because that's how the magic happens. Where sometimes if you're in a relationship, you don't have that same kind of latitude. So man, you're selling me here, Katie. Wait, what got you in? Like, what was the pull to get into life coaching? Was it trying to apply your degree, or like was there a situation that you were in that was kind of the catalyst for it, or how'd you get into this?
I think when I was getting into fitness, I knew there had to be some sort of coaching component.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole part of it. Like, sure. Yeah, there's like the knowledge of like what exercises to do. And I do help people with that. And I do have some clients, that's all they need. But it's just building that discipline. I was just so fascinated, like what makes one person be able to stick with it. Like I was able to like stick with it with my weight loss after COVID, even though there were setbacks. Like I lost weight, I gained it back. And so, I mean, with weight loss, there's so much there.
Yep.
And it kind of yeah, but I found a podcast. You mentioned Jay Shetty. So I was listening to Rob Dial's podcast, The Mindset Mentor. And then I enrolled in his business coaching program. And that's like where I learned so much of what I've learned. But yeah, because body can help make mind feel better. We all know that, like exercise, it quiets your mind. It just literally makes you feel better. But you do need your mind to like get on board.
Yes.
And so that's why coaching. And then I like started loving coaching even more than
I love that.
fitness.
I feel like I always recommend too a life coach versus just a personal trainer. Like it really depends on where you're at, but I feel like a personal trainer is more so like if you don't know how to do something correctly, like an exercise. But after that, I mean, it is for accountability, but like for the price of it, I would rather just get more like a life coach, someone that's going to help you stick with a routine. You could go to, your at home thing, or you could go to another, just the gym or something like that. But when you have like someone that's going to be even more of like accountability and stuff.
Yeah. Or you find a personal trainer who understands that, 50% of it is this is how you do a tricep press down, or this is your bicep curl, or you got to do this during a squat. But the other 50% is getting you to want to be there, or to see the importance of being there, or understanding why consistency is the thing that's going to make or break this. It's not just about technique. It's that human element too. I mean, you think about nutrition programs, like 100% life coaching. It's like, because we're here talking about carbs and fat and protein, but as soon as you walk out of the studio, like you got to have the tools, because you're going to open up the cabinets, you're going to grab things that you know that you can't eat. And so you have to have the tools. You have to have that voice in your head saying, well, I have been taught this by somebody who knows, and this is a tool that I can use. Yeah. What do you love about what you do, Anna? Like you've been doing this for a while, officially as SoulFit since March, but so far with the people who come into your studio and the work that you're doing there, what do you love?
I love it. I tell people it's my passion project. I just, when I go there, I don't know, like I put on like the essential oils, and like just the smell in there, always smells really good and fresh, and
everyone loves that.
Yes, and I love that.
Go to SoulFit, you'll love the smell.
It's so intentional.
It is. Like I try to make everything I do really intentional in there. So when you go in, you're smelling that. Like you might be able to read the quotes on the board. And I love when you get to just run the class and have really good music. I love that. And when the class is just, everyone feels really good, everyone's smiling and stuff. I love coming there on like a busy like evening. I feel like when there's back-to-back classes, it's so much fun. Like the energy's so good. Everyone's just having a good time. I love it when, I love being there when there's a lot of people. So I teach in the morning on Monday, and then I also teach in the evening now on Thursdays. And some days I'll just pop in another day, and I'm like, this is just fun, like sitting at the front desk. I'm like I said, I don't do it for like the money. It's more so just, it's a lot of fun for me. And it's so like, doesn't feel like work. It feels like literally a hobby.
Oh, I love that.
Of course, like there's a lot of stress when it comes to like managing the business side of things and making sure that all of that runs well. But like, take that aside, I mean, the pros, like there's just so much more.
Yeah, very cool. Katie, what about you? What do you love?
I want to talk about SoulFit because like you said, the energy is just so good, and it truly is. I mean, I've been to different fitness studios and yoga studios, and I've been to a yoga class where like the energy was off, and like before the class started, I don't know, it was like 3 years ago, one woman said something, I think she was chastising the other women for talking.
Oh no.
And it was just and then the studio owner after the class like apologized to me for it, because it was just one of those things where like, sure, you could walk into a yoga studio and no chit chat and just be in yoga mode. And clearly that was this woman's expectation. But then she just let it get the better of her. And so, like the vibe was kind of off. And that is nothing like that has ever happened at SoulFit. That's why I love teaching there. And I teach there 3 times a week. and just the energy of all the women that come in. And I do have some men in my classes. I've had mostly for yoga. I do have men come in, and the energy is just amazing. And it's people just love coming there, and that's very rare, I think.
Yeah.
That makes me happy because that was the whole like mission. And I think it's so cool when I put in so much hard work to like get it to where it's at. Like I remember like crying, being like, okay, like, is this actually going to work? Like, and then like all the renovations, like my husband and I did all of it. Like we did it all in 2 months because I'm like, well, rent's going to be due. Like we better start making money.
Yeah.
And we put it all together. And yeah, I just think it's so cool when I step foot in there and I'm like, wow, like it's actually working.
Very
like
cool.
it's actually there.
And you actually run your business. The business does not run you. So yeah, she only it's her business, but she only teaches 2 classes a week because she's hired people. And so now she has time to go take classes and like come here and do this
And enjoy
podcast
it.
Yeah.
and enjoy it. And that's, I think, the way it should be. I'm a solopreneur. I don't have any employees. When I do, that'll be its own thing. But just the level of trust that she has, and even
I just
like
let them do it. I'm like,
it's
yeah.
you
Very
just
cool.
put together such a good team and like market it well, and just the space is so beautiful. My husband was asking, has not met you yet, but he's very impressed and like, well, what is her secret? What's she doing well? I'm like, she just created a great space. She got the right people, because I'm like, she's not the one there all the time. You're not leading the classes, you just pick the right people.
Yeah.
And like
I actually don't like, I like to teach classes, but like I've really found like, you know, when you start to tap into your strengths and you see what you're good at, and I think I'm good at managing and just trying to figure out where other people's strengths are. So like, for example, Katie, like she's just really good at doing certain classes, and there's some instructors that might be better at doing more high energy classes. And I try to see that and just see like, okay, they're doing really well here, but they're not doing well here. So we should put them more here, and they like this spot better. And so I think when you do that and you give them that trust, I think things succeed, you know? And I think it takes a lot of pressure off me too, because I don't want to do this and always be worried about, oh, are they going to do a good job? Oh, are they going to run it well? Because otherwise, what's the point, you know?
Right.
I want to have that freedom. That's why I chose entrepreneurship. And I do the same with my wedding planners. A lot of them are so nervous going out, and I'm like, it's okay, just fake it till you make it. I know you can do it. I know you got it. I know you have the skills to do it. Like, just go do it. And they do it, and then they surprise themselves. And I think that's one thing that I'm good at, is seeing like what people are good at and being like, okay, just try it. Like, you don't have to have a special degree.
Yeah.
You just need to be good at what you're doing and know your stuff, and you'll be fine.
How cool, man! You guys got me fired up. If somebody's listening to this and they're like, you know what, I want to check out SoulFit. This looks like a place for me. How can people go about either contacting you or getting more information?
Yeah, so we make it super easy. They can go to www.soulfitmi.com, or they can go onto our Instagram or Facebook, and they can see all different things, just SoulFit. And we have our class schedule right on there. I mean, as you scroll down, right when you go to soulfit.com, you'll see view schedule here or book your class here. Just click onto that link. And we run everything super easy through online. So again, I try to make everything automated, super easy. They can book their classes right online. And then you can also go right through the Moments app once you book a class, and you can book, you know, next classes that you do. So makes it super easy.
Very cool. Katie, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I need a life coach in my life, how do they go about contacting you?
So my email is hello@katievolk.com. katievolk.com. The website is in process, so don't go there yet. But I
Send her an email, people.
yeah, send me an email. Go to my Instagram. It's Katie Volk Coaching. Same with Facebook.
Very cool. And then, of course, I can go to SoulFit and take some yoga from you. I love it. Well, you guys have been an absolute pleasure. Maybe one of these days as I walk up the stairs, I'll get closer and closer to opening the door and do some physical fitness with you guys. But you are amazing. Thanks so much for stopping by. People listening at home, you got to check them out. Be here in person at SoulFit. Send Katie Volk an email. Get some life coaching. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That was so fun.
You guys are
I could keep talking.
See it?
Oh.